Rain lashed down, wind screamed through the trees. Leela shivered, her thin dress plastered to her body. She was lost, alone and terrified. The forest had seemed friendly enough in the daylight. Now every shadow held a monster. Every rustle of leaves made her jump. Lightning flashed, momentarily illuminating the woods. Leela saw gnarled branches reaching out like skeletal fingers. Thunder boomed, shaking the ground beneath her feet. She choked back a sob. She had to keep moving. She had to find shelter. Another flash of lightning. Leela saw something move in the undergrowth, something large and yellow. Her heart pounded in her chest. Her breath caught in her throat. Please let it not be what she thought it was. Two eyes, burning like hot coals, stared back at her, piercing through the darkness with an intensity that made her heart race. The lion was huge, its mane a dark shadow against the storm, blending seamlessly with the chaotic backdrop of lightning and thunder. Leela felt a primal fear grip her, cold and paralyzing, as if the very essence of terror had wrapped itself around her soul. She couldn't move, she couldn't scream. Her body was frozen, a statue of fear in the midst of the storm. The lion lowered its head, a low growl rumbling in its chest, vibrating through the air like a warning. The sound broke the spell that held Leela captive, snapping her back to reality with a jolt. She turned and ran. Branches whipped at her face, leaving stinging marks as she pushed through the dense underbrush. Thorns tore at her clothes, ripping fabric and skin alike. But she didn't stop. She couldn't afford to. She couldn't stop, not with that thing behind her, its presence a constant threat that pushed her forward. The forest floor was treacherous, littered with roots and rocks, each step a potential hazard. Leela stumbled and fell, scraping her hands on the rough bark, the pain sharp and immediate. Pain shot up her arms, but she scrambled back to her feet, driven by sheer survival instinct. She had to keep running, for her life. The forest seemed endless, but she knew she had to find a way out. The storm raged on, mirroring the fear that clawed at Leila's insides. She didn't know how long she had been running. Time seemed to blur into a dizzying kaleidoscope of shadows and rain. Her legs burned. Her lungs screamed for air, but still she pushed on. The lion's roar echoed behind her, closer now. Desperation lent speed to her feet. She dodged between trees, her small body weaving through the undergrowth. She couldn't outrun it forever. She knew that, but she had to keep trying. She tripped again, falling hard against the muddy ground. For a moment she lay there, utterly defeated. She couldn't go on. She couldn't run anymore. The lion would catch her, and then... But then, through the driving rain, she saw it, a faint glow in the distance, barely visible through the sheets of water pouring from the sky. A flicker of light that pierced the oppressive darkness of the forest like a beacon calling out to her. Hope, like a lifeline, surged through her. It was a village. A place where she could find shelter and safety. She had to reach it. Hauling herself to her feet, Leela stumbled towards the light, her heart pounding with a mix of fear and determination. Her legs felt like lead, her body a symphony of aches and pains. Every step was a battle, but she couldn't afford to stop. But the promise of safety spurred her on. The thought of a warm fire and friendly faces gave her the strength to keep moving. With each step, the glow grew brighter, pushing back the shadows of the forest and the terror that lurked within. The light seemed to guide her, offering a glimmer of hope in the darkness. The lion roared again, closer than ever, its presence a constant reminder of the danger she was in. Leila didn't dare look back. She knew that to hesitate, even for a moment, could mean the end. She poured every ounce of strength she had left into her flight, her breath coming in ragged gasps as she pushed herself to the limit. The village lights were so close now, almost within reach. She could see the outlines of buildings, the promise of refuge. She could almost hear voices carried on the wind. Just a little further, she told herself. Just a few more steps and she would be safe. She burst out of the tree line, stumbling onto a muddy path, her breath coming in ragged gasps. The forest had been a maze of shadows and threats, but now she was free of it. The village lay before her, lamps glowing warmly in windows, casting a golden glow that seemed to beckon her forward. It was a sight she had longed for, a beacon of hope in the darkness. Relief washed over her, so profound it nearly buckled her knees. She had made it. She was safe. The weight of her journey lifted, and for the first time in days she allowed herself to believe in safety. Taking a few more shaky steps, Leila collapsed onto the muddy ground, her strength finally giving out. The mud was cold and wet, but she didn't care. She had no more energy to move. Exhaustion claimed her, dragging her down into a dizzying darkness. Her eyelids fluttered shut, and she surrendered to the overwhelming fatigue. The storm raged on around her, but Leila barely noticed. She was safe. The howling wind and driving rain were distant concerns now, and for now, that was all that mattered. She had found sanctuary, a place where she could finally rest. Above her, the storm clouds swirled, the wind howling its lonely song. The tempest seemed to echo her own turbulent journey, but in the village, lights twinkled, promising warmth and safety. Each glowing window was a promise of comfort and security. And somewhere in the depths of the forest, the lion roared, its hunt abandoned. The predator had lost its prey, and Lila had found her refuge. Lila woke to a blurry vision of worried faces peering down at her. Warm hands gently lifted her, carrying her towards the welcoming glow of the village. She was safe, surrounded by the kindness of strangers. The terror of the storm, the lion, the endless forest, all faded into a distant nightmare. As she drifted back into a peaceful sleep, Lila knew she would never forget the night she outran the storm and found sanctuary in the heart of a storm.